story with skin, that the energy of skin is agitation, energy that's not being expressed, not being heard, not being acknowledged. So it's like a creepiness that goes on the skin. So there's inflammation, there's itchiness, shingles, all those things can come into the skin with this story. So if we can clear the energy on that, that would give you a very good chance of not holding the stuff in it. Everything that the body's showing us is so that the body can show us what it is that is moving and happening deeper inside of us. So the body's never broken. It just looks broken, but when we get to the point where it feels so broken, we say, I'm broken. We claim it and we identify with it. And that's where the hardship comes in, but we've been programmed like that. Just taking like a blanket awareness of agitation, the aggravation, agitation, those kind of energies, those are really important for us to just address anyway, because there's so much agitating us right now. What I'm seeing is that people who have high energy, who are aware, who are loving and gracious and wishing the best for the world, and as healers of the world, really holding a beautiful high light energy, these are the ones that are suppressing so much emotion so that they can show up in a good space for everybody else. Denial of self, the suppression of your own energy, is very, very big, especially if you've kind of been grown up like that. Just put on a brave face, don't bring it down for everybody, make the best of it. Why must you always make it about you? We have a lot of that suppression energy. And you think about agitation under the skin, it's under the skin, it's suppressed and it's held down, and it just tingles underneath the skin. It's under the surface, it's not gone, because that feeling is not gone. The first thing we address really then is our ability to honor where we are, to honor the space that we're holding, and that we don't have to make it better for everybody else, and we don't have to push our own energy down so that anyone else around us can be happy and fulfilled. We're not to be the scapegoat for anybody else's well-being or delight or happiness, and we're not to be shamed and blamed. If you could go way back, you would see that there was so much suppression of the feminine, so much having to just make do and pull it together and make the best of the situation. And then we were all grown up on that stupid story of the woman must be submissive, that the husband is the boss and the leader, and you must just go yes, yes, yes to everything, even if you can't stand it, even if you don't want to be part of it, you must just suppress. It's not easy. It's not easy for the feminine voice to be expressed, to be heard. We don't want to upset anybody, and that's the point. And we really don't. We really don't want to upset anybody. We want things to be harmonious and delightful, and we don't want to be the one that's the problem to that. We don't want to be the one that's in the way of that happening. Our heart is there. Our heart is right there. We want the best for everyone around us, but we don't give that to us. We don't give the best to us. Every time you're just aware of it, you're changing it. You don't have to actually do something, because that's what blocks us as well. Because once we are aware of it, that's all we have to be. We don't actually have to go and put on the banners and light the flags and the candles and burn the bras and make a big statement. We don't have to do any of that stuff. That's just more energy of clutter and doing. We just want consciousness to awaken, and that's awareness. So that really gives us permission to be aware and not to be fearful about the ramifications. And the minute we activate, remember, for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Then everyone's just pushing back and forth, But we have an awareness, and here we stand with it. So as we hold this awareness here, then we can either just clam it up and bottle it up inside of us and just say, this is the way it has to be. So I clam up this energy here, and I can't express it and I can't show it, and then it has to go within us. It keeps hurting us because it never goes anywhere. And we do this and we think we're making it easy for everybody. We're not speaking our truth. We're being polite. We're not making waves. We're not being dramatic. And we're holding our space like that. But if an awareness comes in that the something over here is not what I want, we don't have to fix it, because that's the story that we've been imprinted with. We think, now, how am I going to fix it? If this energy has got any kind of pulse or vibration of hardness, the only way we can match it is to do the same. And when we're doing the same energy and we're pushing the same energy at each other, no one's going anywhere. For every action, equal and opposite reaction. So we come back now. Now we say, here I am, and I've got a feeling and a sense, and it's hurting me. There's an agitation, pain or sadness. There's something that's hurting me. My body is showing it to me now. It's not just me thinking it. My body is saying, listen, you've got to see this. If you can't see it, I'm going to really show it to you. So it starts showing and poking at the body system. At this point, we don't know what to do, because all we've known what to do is to fight back, or to argue, or to push, or deny, or deflect, or all of those pushing energies. And we want to do something dramatic to be seen and heard, because we've been suppressed for so long that when we start speaking, we think it's going to be big and explosive, and we're terrified of that. Or we have to work ourselves up to such a pitch that the courage that we need to change this has to feel explosive. So we work ourselves up through a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of bitterness, and it just bubbles up and up and up, and it gets higher and higher within the system, and then it goes and it explodes. And then the poor person here, who's been thinking all along that you're fine, has to deal with this explosive crazy lady. And that's not fair, because there's been no warning for them of what is coming, because we've hidden it away and we suppressed it, but it's been hurting us and we can't hold it in anymore. It's got to be released. So we don't know what to do now. Now we're either going to explode, and we're going to hit back and we're going to be aggressive. What else is there? What else is there as an option? And we don't know any other option except action, because the reaction is to act again. Reaction. So we don't know that there's something else, but there is. And all it is awareness. Here you are holding the space. There is the touch, tap, tap upon your awareness of this. And what do you do now? You acknowledge it and you say, oh my gosh, there's something knocking upon my door of awareness that I'm not happy with. And you acknowledge it. The minute you acknowledge this, you and your energy and your mind, body, being, your entire system knows that you are working together as a system. You're acknowledging, you're agreeing, you're connecting, you're seeing. That energy is so, so powerful, because it means to your whole being that you are paying attention. If you are paying attention, then your body doesn't have to keep tapping you with agitation, skin itching, pains in the back and the neck, and all the other things that happen. Just awareness. We think that that's too passive, but it's not. Just try it. Just every time you get a feeling, something comes in and it's like, this doesn't fit with me. This doesn't work for me. This is not my place of comfort. And every time you get that sense in you, you go, oh yeah, I don't like this very much. Just say to yourself, this is really not for me. This is not the place that is for me. I don't like the way this is happening over here. I don't like what's happening. I don't like being spoken to in this way. I don't like being treated in this way. And you're just acknowledging and agreeing with you. There's no anger, there's no fighting, there's no having to pull your rage up to explosive levels so that you could be heard and seen. None of that. All your body wants is that you see you. You see you. You acknowledge you. You love you. You honor and respect you. That's where the story is. Agree with the feeling that you're having, all your feelings. Agree that you are allowed to feel, that you're not going to lock it down in your body, you're not going to contain it. So it's really got nothing to do with the part of the body that is in pain right now. It's an agreement that you start to make with your whole being, that I am connecting and integrating with my whole being because I want to feel the wholeness and the wellness of my whole being. And that's where you start. If you treat it as real and you see it as reality and you come into the reality, the truth, this is truth. I have got an agitation here. It is a pain. It is not comfortable. It is keeping me awake. And that's truth. And you align into your truth. That's what we're totally doing. Because now we're going, there's a pain coming in and we're saying, I don't want it. So we step outside and we step away from our truth. But if we go, but it's real, I can feel it. It's really agitating. It's really bothering me. It's the truth. And you keep reconnecting to your center, your truth. This is what it is. And you acknowledge it. You acknowledge this is what I'm feeling. And behind that, there might be a whole lot of stuff. And I acknowledge and agree with that, whatever it is. However far back it goes, I'm willing to agree with that this is truth. This feeling is reality. This is what is showing up. And this is the pain that I'm experiencing. So I'm going to allow myself for once in an entire lifetime to agree with me that even though this is not comfortable, it is here in me. And even though it's very painful, it's here in me. It's remarkable what happens when we sit down with what is the body's truth, the body and the mind's truth. It is absolutely remarkable. See yourself as if you're reprogramming yourself. Imagine that you're reprogramming a system that has been playing in a really underground game, a subliminal, underground, dark place of non-truth, denial and rejection and shame and blame and guilt, hate and anger and bitterness. It's all there. All the passive aggressive stuff, everything, it's all there. We find ourselves being hateful and mean-spirited with ones we love. And we play passive-aggressive games and we're bitter and all those little energies come in only because it's been suppressed. We just acknowledge it. So this is, I'm just so agitated right now. Just acknowledge it in you so that your being says, okay, good. Let's go with that. Let's go with what that is. Now if you acknowledge it and you truly see what is coming up, then you can start to look what's just behind it. But if you push it away and mask it and shame and blame yourself, guilt trip yourself, and hide it away and pretend that everything's fabulous, you put a bandage on a suppurating sore and it's going to get sick. I might not be as good. I will look foolish. I'll be shamed. I won't be able to manage. If I don't get strong, then this. And if I don't think that, then this. That, can you feel how you're playing in the energy of conditional? If I don't get strong, I won't be able to manage this. If I won't be able to manage it, then this is me not being able to do the things that I love to do with the one I love. And if I can't do that, then I'm going to be excluded and I'm going to be shut out. And then I'm going to be locked out. And then I'm going to be isolated. And then I'm not going to be able to survive. And then no one's going to love me. And then I'm going to get old and miserable. It doesn't have to spiral downward. But though that spiral, those stories are based on old stories in our line. In our own life, but particularly in our line. And they go right down until they come to the point of the pain of survival. That the only way we can do this is to survive. And survival is clawing, grabbing, lying, cheating, denying. It's unbelievable energy. And if you don't make it, you're out and you're going to get eaten by the wolves. It's that kind of energy. So it goes right down to the base instinct of vulnerability, exposure, not being allowed, not being welcomed. Terrifying, terrifying in our system. No wonder we agitate. And none of that is your fault. None of that is what you have created. Oh, how can I create a little bit of misery now? I mean, please, none of us move in life like this. So few of us have any kind of malintent. We've just been handed a script, and we believe that this is the script. This is the way we have to do life. This is the way you do it. You've got to push to succeed. You've got to fight to claim. You've got to struggle to survive. That's the script. And it's not a truth. It's only a way of doing a life existence. We could quite easily thrive in every other possible way. And the people who are handicapped, and the people who climb these mountains handicapped, and people who survive treacherous and awful things are going like, I show you there's another truth. The truth that you have to be this Amazon woman or this Amazon man to be strong, to cope, to manage, to be welcome, to be part of it. And if you're not that, then you're just going to be eaten by the wolves. That's just a story, it's just a script. So we play into that script. Really, we're just performers on a great big stage. We get a little bit of a script. We pop on some hot hats and costumes, and off we go, doing our script. It's not yours. Don't own it. Don't claim it. Don't self-persecute. We've had enough of that through eons of time. You don't have to do it to you. That comes back to the agreement. Agree with you, love you, hold you, honor you. And you've got all the time in the world to be present with you, and you will always have you with you. You are you, and you are your life, and you are all your experiences. You've got every single breath and every moment of being in the form to get a sense of what it is that we're being informed by being in a form. What is coming in is information, informed while we're in the form. There's lovely information coming in. Why aren't we processing it? Why did we get to be so lazy? Let's just process it. And we got lazy because there was a script, there was a story that said, don't show your vulnerability, don't show that you might have a little weakness here, don't do that because you know what will happen. But how about we release these old systems and codes and imprints? If we just release them, if we don't even have to carry them anymore so that they no longer are signals in our being. And that is our deepest loving work, with no hate and anger and judgment towards those who've gone before. But if you just go suppression of feelings, and just go, okay, so I've been doing that, and my family have been doing that, and my line have been doing that, and it was probably the right choice to make a few hundred years ago. Maybe there were so few choices at that time, so few choices, that the decision to just not say anything, not cause a problem, just to suppress ourselves, then that was probably the decision that was made that helped that family, that line, to go on and create another family line, a bit more of the family line. And you're here because of those choices. They weren't great, but they were terrible times. Those choices were made in treacherous, terrible times. Secrecy and all kinds of horrible stuff had to happen. So the suppression energy, that the suppression of our sense of being, is a survival mechanism. That's all it is. Acknowledge it and love it. Let's just imagine a picture, and we don't know if this could be, but let's imagine that way back in your line, someone had some kind of poison ivy, or poison something that was on their arm. And the mum looked at this child and said, hide it away. Don't tell anybody you inflicted or afflicted in any way, because if they think you've got some kind of affliction, you're going to be tossed out of the tribe. Hide it away. Secrecy, suppression. And this poor little thing could never scratch and never show anyone. and no help was coming, and no one was going to put a healing balm on it. Imagine if that could be the story way back through time where that idea came in. And the story is playing out again here in you. And imagine you're the one that could be the healer of it by acknowledging that there is stuff that is being embedded in us, trapped in our awareness, and it's got to do with the suppression of energy, the denial of self. This suppression that we've come through is an energy that we have known, and a particularly women don't tell, don't reveal. So much pain in the feminine energy around that. And all the horrors and the rapes and all those things, all the persecutions and that kind of energy, the abuse that women have put up with, it's part of that frequency. Suppress it, don't tell anyone, because if you do, you will be shamed. You will be shamed and blamed, not the person who was the perpetrator. You who the victim, because you allowed it. You wore your skirts too short. It's that story. And I hear these stupid stories all the time. This shaming and this blaming, and that's where the pain is. So hide it away, don't show it, don't share it. Because if you look vulnerable, if you expose yourself, if you show, if you share, something terrible is going to happen. And in ancient times as well, not even such ancient times, perpetrators took great delight in the abusive stuff, especially with women. They said, but if you tell, I'll kill your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister. So now you can't tell either. So that's a suppression again of energy. There's so many scenarios that we know have happened in history. Don't have to imagine them. We know that these are. We've seen them in books and stories and people's testimonies. We've known and understood this. We took it as a blanket awareness. It's suppression of energy. We're pushing it down, and we're not agreeing with ourselves that this that I've got is a painful connection to an awareness. And all my being wants is to be acknowledged. Imagine being that child way back. Imagine that story. And just some dear soul took pity on that child and made up a little healing balm and said, I'll never reveal your secret, but I'm going to bring love to you, and I acknowledge that this is uncomfortable for you, and I'm sorry for your pain. And they give the child the healing balm, but it's not the balm. It's the kindness and the compassion. That's what absolutely awakens our hearts. And we remember that we are beautiful beings, that we're worthy, that we have value, and we start to value and respect and honor our own being. We've got to come back. There's nothing to lose in trying this. It's just us coming into more stillness, heightened awareness, and finding ourselves in the agreement of our own being. This agreement with our being, it's all here at the throat, and it connects us, this human being, this form, to our light being. It integrates our fullness, our wholeness of being, and we come back into our center, and we align and we connect, we honor, respect, and love, and cherish this being that is here with the light that is coming in. This light is going to keep pouring in. It's never going to change. But if we don't acknowledge it, feel it, see it, and allow it to fully integrate into the conscious mind of this human being, we miss out on a big piece of our wholeness. So the first thing you want to do is just get like a little rubber band. The moment you feel yourself pushing your energy down or dropping your energy, the moment you do, pick up your rubber band and snap yourself. Just give yourself a little snap. Remind yourself. And if you remind yourself here, then go and jot it down. Or just keep it in mind. Just put a keyword or anything, or mark the time, or do something that is tangible for you, that feels like this is what you want to See yourself doing. Monitor yourself like you're a little experiment. Watch yourself doing this. And that will help you to stay mindful, stay in the place of witness, watching yourself, observing yourself, being kind to yourself, laughing at yourself. Oh my gosh, there I go. Quink. Sorry for you. We've got to get us out of the story. We're getting locked into stories, and the only reason we're staying locked in is because we're not getting ourselves out of them. We're not snapping out of them. So do a tangible snap, maybe. That would be a very good way to do it. And then count them. Count how many times you snapped yourself in that day. And then count the next day, and then start writing what these snaps are. What is the story? What is the story behind this? And think about the blanket energy of suppressed energy. So you've got lots of opportunities for that to come in. If you're watching a show and you're watching a manipulation and suppression going on, snap you and go, oh my gosh, you, pay attention to this thing that's showing itself to me. Nothing we're watching is an coincidence. It's everything is information. Everything is an opportunity for awareness. Every single thing, every person. We watch people having a hard connection between each other. Watch for the undertone. Watch when the woman goes like this and drops her energy and gives up. Watch that. Don't do anything about it. Just observe it. And make an agreement in you that it's perfectly okay for you to notice this. And you don't have to get on your army boots, ta-rum-ta-rah, and you don't have to activate, and you don't have to get angry. You're just noticing, and you're saying to yourself, this is the reality that I'm seeing now. It's real and showing, and it's showing up, and this is the reality I'm feeling now. So I would say that would be a really good way to keep yourself on board with helping yourself to release. Because once your being is paying attention, it can't become subliminal anymore. You can't hide. Because where do you hide when someone's always looking for you? And then once you've done that, do that for a few days. And then give yourself a little technique. Then go, okay, so now I've noticed, and I'm really good at noticing now. Nothing's going without my attention. I'm paying attention. I'm being in my life. When you've got that, then bring in the next little piece and just say, oh, good. When I feel that, and when I notice that, I'm going to breathe space into it. I'm going to breathe and imagine all the energy opening so it's not closed and tight. Just breathe this beautiful space into it. Whatever that energy is, if it's in you, you breathe the space and open it up. If you watch it on television, breathe and open it up. Imagine that you're opening up curtains in a dark room where everything has been hidden away and concealed with secrets and darkness and shadows. And every time you breathe in, light comes in and it just radiates into all those dark spaces, illuminates the energy. Use your breath as your signal to expand beyond it, open and open and open. Do that, and then do that for another week or so. So you notice, you snap, you notice, you count, you write it down, whatever you're doing, however you're logging it, and then you go, okay, now I'm bringing in light, energy, breath, expansion, openness, clarity, honesty, integrity. It's all this open, open, open. If all around the world there was this transparency, this openness, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be amazing if this was energy that was transmitted, which it is, to each and every being? If I get it, that means every being around me has the potential to get it as well. And if I can hold it, then every other being around me is receiving that light. And that's truly when we're working like a lighthouse in a dark night. We're holding a portal energy, a lighthouse and a dark night. Brilliant. The next thing you do after breathing space into it, start noticing what the performance is about. Because everything that you're going to be noticing, the issues, that's just a performance. The actors coming on the stage, they're putting on their hats and their costumes, they're speaking in that language, then they go off And then we can get new actors with the same script. They put on different hats, different costumes, and the same script is running. That's all it is. It's just a performance. Notice the performance. Notice how often in all our performing, these things come up. And they keep coming up no matter who, no matter where, no matter what, they keep coming up. We can see them everywhere. And the reason is because it's energy. It's an energy that hasn't been seen by us. We can see the behavior. The minute we see a behavior, what do? We blame and shame the actor for that behavior. We blame and shame the one who is presenting the behavior. And that's a danger. We don't want to do that. It's not the actor. It's not the behavior. It's the energy that created that pain, that subliminal awareness, that suppression, that hidden agenda. It's the energy that creates the pain, not us. We are performing. We're in a form and we're performing. We're informing each other by performing with each other. We're reflecting to each other. That's what we're here to do. But if we start looking at the behavior and the people, we will go quickly to shaming and blaming them for doing that thing, which is the behavior which I don't like. We don't like the behavior, but look again. What do we really not like? We don't like the story that is embedded underneath it, the undertone. That's what we don't like. We can love the person no matter what they do, and this is truly the biggest leap for us as humanity. We can love the persecutor unconditionally when we remember that they are performing and showing up because what they are expressing is pain. And no one performs and expresses hardship if there's no pain. It's always pain. But if we never stop and say, but what is the pain? Let's release the pain, the toxic element. Let's release that. We don't. We persecute the person. We throw them in jail. We hate and despise the person. Then the next person shows it. But we still don't get it. And then we see it on TV, and then we see it in our friends, and then we see it in our family. We keep seeing it everywhere, but we're not going to where we need to go. We keep blaming and shaming and hating each other. Duality, polarity, hate, despising, all this duality experience. Go into what it is that is creating that pain. Get that. Put love into it. Put honoring and respect by pulling it back into alignment in you. You pull it into shape, into the shape that it's meant to be, in your form. You transform the energy. Don't blame and shame you. Don't do that, because then you're throwing part of you away. It was the script. The script was given to us. Just when this happens, run like hell, fight like mad, climb into your bed. It's just the script. The awareness of what the script is, what the story is, the awareness of the pain that keeps running the story as a program. That's where we must go now. And it's just a matter of becoming aware of it. And the only way we can become aware is through the heart and the pain and the discomfort that it gives us. The agitation upon our skin, the pain in the body. The body is trying to help us get it by showing it so close to us that we can't deny it. If it's someone else, we can slam the door and throw them out. But if it's on your body, you can't do that. Then you've got to pay attention. So let's pay attention with light and love and kindness and honoring and integrity to self, respect and valuing self. Start there. Just start there. But you could also just go right here now and say, but I am a being of light and a being of love. I am perfectly equipped to be anywhere at any time with anyone and anyhow. So when I move from here to there, I've still got me. I'm the being that moves from here to there. So that means I can be here, and then when I want to move myself, I'll be there, but I'm still there. What causes us pain is that we're not with ourselves. We're not with the being that is going into all the different places because we've got this disconnect. the suppression of our being, the suppression of our thoughts and feelings and sensing. So when we go to the other place, we get angry or resentful or bitter in that place. But truly it's not the place, it's me. I took myself in there and then I got bitter. But I took myself in there. And why did I take myself in there? Because I didn't feel into my integrity. I didn't feel into it. I didn't think I could. I just got pulled along and I thought it was for the better of someone else and I suppressed what I desired. But if we stop playing that game, our whole body and being wherever we are is perfectly lovely. People are able to go into horrendous places. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, never forgot who he was. Never ever forgot who he was. That place didn't define him and the place didn't suppress him. And he held a light within it. No choice. We have choice. We can move anywhere. But the problem is we want to move there with our full, whole self. Not that fragmented part of us that is still unhappy about itself. Me. I take me into the situation and I can be delightful. I can take me in that situation, I can be delightful. We're only here for a little while. We might as well just have every silly, wonderful, ridiculous, happy, delightful experience that we can possibly have. Just have them. Because what else are we supposed to do? Just have all the crazy. Do it all. Because you'll be there. And you'll be noticing. And you'll be laughing. And you'll be happy. And you'll be open and clear. And valuing you. And valuing the one who's creating all this happy nonsense with you. And expressing yourself. That energy is opening a ripple of awareness. It's constantly opening this beautiful ripple of awareness. That is the gift we give to the matrix, to the collective consciousness, into the web of awareness. That's our gift. We just choose to be happy because we're complete and we're clear and we don't feel like we're being coerced or not being heard because we heard our own being. We don't rely on someone out there to hear us, to make it better for us because we're giving our power away in the conditional energy. I care for me, I love me, I make me happy, I choose with all my heart. And once we know we can choose, we pretty much choose anything. We can do anything. We're not unhappy about choosing. It's not hard. We choose all kinds of silly. It's perfect. But when we have the stories underneath the behavior, that's where the pain is. Clear the pain, have the life, play all the roles, be as silly as we want. Perfect.